This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Before I get to today's topic, which I am champing at the bit to get to, I end every video by saying, be genuine and take care of one another. And I've been doing that for a long time, as long as I've been doing the set thing, not the green screen that I used to do. And one of my friends said, you should make t-shirts out of that. That would be a great message, and also it would help support the channel. And me, being a dumb guy, had never thought of that. So I actually pulled the trigger on it. I've had some t-shirts made. They're on my Teespring store right now. YouTube has a weird review method, so they're not showing up, I don't think, in the merch shelf there. But you can go to dollemore.info and take a look at some of the designs. I have some Be Genuine shirts and some Take Care of One Another shirts. I think they're a great compliment. They're a great message. And they really do help support the channel. Anyway, I would appreciate you just checking it out. Let's move forward talking about today's topic. Donald Trump has made a life for himself, a name for himself, practicing and trafficking in cruelty. Whether it be the moment he came down the escalator to announce in June of 2015 his candidacy, calling Mexicans rapists, or whether it be the litany of horrors that followed. We all watched as Donald Trump mocked a disabled reporter, unabashedly mocked a disabled reporter at one of his hate rallies during the campaign in 2016. You've heard it said before, if you're on Twitter, you've certainly heard it, that this should have been the moment that ended Donald Trump. Instead, it was a signal to what Hillary Clinton described as a basket of deplorables. They delighted in his cruelty. And now Donald Trump is out there on the campaign trail, and rather than trying to build a coalition to grow his voter base, he's doing the same thing, appealing to the lowest common denominator. People who, again, delight in cruelty and meanness. And Joe Biden, being the candidate, is the target. Joe Biden has had struggles with a stutter since childhood. I think he's mostly over it. He's, in his mid to late 70s. And listen, what I'm getting ready to talk about, I don't feel bad for Joe Biden. I'm not, sounding a rallying cry that we should all defend Joe Biden because he can't defend himself. I'm not saying that. When I speak about Joe Biden's stuttering and the cruelty that has followed from Trump and his surrogates, it is to defend young children who watch these assholes make fun, mock Joe Biden for his stutter, imitating it. Joe Biden can take care of himself. Think about the little kids who watch this and feel less than because they're not like the normal kids. First, because there's been a lot of denying or just flat out ignoring the fact that this has been in the media for a long time, Joe Biden's stutter. Here's audio from 2008 during the candidacy, the first run of Obama-Biden, where NPR did a story talking about and interviewed Biden where he talked about his stutter from childhood.
Today, Joe Biden is known as a gifted, albeit long-winded, orator. But 60 years ago, he was just a kid in Scranton, Pennsylvania with a bad stutter. He described his childhood in an interview on Morning Edition.
I used to stand in front of the mirror in my bedroom. I shared a bedroom like a lot of people in my era in my neighborhood with my two brothers and an uncle. And I'd stand there in front of the mirror over the dresser, and I would practice. Meek young men grow up in libraries believing it their duty to accept the views of Cicero, Bacon, and Baba. Because the most embarrassing part of my stutter was it contorted your face. You don't go up and ask the girl out, hey, would you go to the prom with me? And it's a killer.
2008. 2008. This isn't some new made-up story that Biden is using to cover up for some cognitive decline, which we're going to get to clips of that claim from Laura Trump. If 2008 isn't early enough, let's go back to 1992 when a book called What It Takes, The Way to the White House by Richard Ben Cramer. 1992. This book was published, talking about the race that Joe Biden was a part of then. Obviously, he didn't win. Here's an excerpt from that book. From 1992, again. A stutter is a cruel affliction for a kid because no one, not even he, can see anything wrong. It's not like a club foot or a missing finger where there's something physically, visibly wrong. And you have simply to shrug and do the best you can. No, a stutter is more insidious. It attacks directly a child's ability to make himself known and felt in the world. But indirectly, because there's nothing wrong, it attacks his own idea of himself, his self-esteem, his confidence. Why can't he talk right? Joe did not stutter all the time. At home, he almost never stuttered. With his friends, seldom. But when he moved to Delaware, there were no friends. There were new kids, a new school, and new nuns to make him stand up and read in class. That's when it always hit. Always, always, always. When he stood up in front of everybody else and he wanted so much just to be right, to be smooth, to be smart, to be normal. Just then. Of course, they laughed. Why wouldn't they laugh? He was new. He was small. He was ridiculous. Even to him, there was nothing wrong. That's what the doctor said. So why couldn't he talk right? Look, I don't have a stutter, never have. I've been blessed with the ability to extemporaneously run my mouth without impediment. Imagine being a kid and having this saddled, this burden, this weight of a stutter. Again, Joe Biden's a man, a grown man in his late 70s. I'm not defending him. He doesn't need it. What about the children that witness these political leaders, these people with a platform, with power, mocking people who have a stutter? Let's start with this nonsense from accused rapist Greg Kelly from Newsmax, who left Fox News and went to Fox TV in New York City and left there because he got accused of rape and then got let off for the accusation because his daddy was the police commissioner of New York City at the time. Here he is on Newsmax. I mean, seriously, it's a step below here what I do on YouTube. Here he is mocking and denying the stuttering.
Who genuinely is a not-so-secret weapon and doing an amazing job is Lara Trump, the daughter-in-law of the president. She is married to Eric Trump, and they dispatch her on these Sunday shows. She goes into very hostile territory. Last week, Chris Wallace, she took him on. And yesterday, that droop, Jake Tapper on CNN, she did excellent. Watch this.
had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
You are
to
no
watch somebody on stage search for
that's so amazing.
questions
It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody.
And Jake gets all indignant because, like millions of people, I didn't know anything about Joe Biden's stutter. I never heard that. Quite frankly, I think it's a phony little campaign gambit for sympathy. Joe Biden doesn't have a stutter. He's remarkably inarticulate, yes, and he's losing his marbles. But I never heard about this stutter until the campaign and the little boy, and they tried to create a warm moment. Do we have more time for anything else?
So this is what passes for knowledge and understanding in the Republican Party. I never heard of it, so it must not be true. I just read from a 1992 book chronicling it. We heard audio from 2008 of Joe Biden talking about it. But Greg Kelly, Dingus McGee, who can't tie a tie like a normal adult, he never heard of it, so it's not real. What you just witnessed there, though, is Greg Kelly being an obsequious, servile mutt, lapping at the boots of Donald Trump and his family, talking about what a champion and a brave warrior that Laura Trump is. And would you expect anything different from Laura Trump, who serves at the behest of a cruel, vile villain? They're not the only ones, though. 2 days ago, at Donald Trump's rally in Arizona, that was yesterday, Doug Ducey, the governor of the state of Arizona, took to the podium and imitated it, mocked Joe Biden's stutter. Here's that moment.
Joe Biden is wrong for America. Joe Biden is wrong for America.
And the cruelty just keeps coming. And then yesterday, on Fox News, on Fox and Friends, a clown, a human toilet brush by the name of Tony Katz, made an asshole of himself, mocking Joe Biden, bringing up the stutter as though it's a disqualifying event on a morning show when children could be watching. Taking on board the message that to have a stutter is to be less than, that it's a disqualifying condition for certain jobs, for equality in America. Watch this jerk off.
Donald Trump is giving his answer. Those first 2 minutes, they will mute Biden and vice versa. So those first 2 minutes, we can hear exactly how they feel about each of these issues. How do you think this is going to go? Will it go smoothly?
This is a miserable idea. First of all, we live in the age of interaction. Let America do the muting, and why not shock collars? Let's have a good time with it all the way around. But the bigger story here is that we're the ones who don't get to hear President Trump or Vice President Biden. They're going to hear each other. So now you have Vice President Biden with Donald Trump disagreeing with him or interrupting him possibly, and all you'll hear is a stuttering Vice President Joe Biden. Haven't we heard enough? Stuttering Vice President Joe Biden? Is this really the imagery the Democratic Party wants to put out there? It's a mistake on their part more than anything.
Yeah, I also just think it's disrespectful for a future president or a current president to be muted by some moderator or a reporter at any time. I just think.
Tony Katz, you gravy-necked shock jock flunky, you sickening troll. Again, Joe Biden can take care of himself. Joe Biden doesn't need the defense of other people. I don't think he's hurt by this. He's strong and capable. But what about the kids out there who are watching this, who are bearing witness to this abject cruelty, the misery of spirit of Trump and his surrogates? A new day is dawning. January 20th, 2021, hopefully there will be a new president, a new modus operandi, a way to behave. There will be dignity back in the White House. Please vote. Neighbors, friends, relatives, co-workers, convince them also to vote. We need a resounding statement of the way we want things to be going forward. I'd love to know what you think. 714-576-4054. You can email me daily at dollemore.com. I would love to hear from you. I listen to every voicemail. I read every email. I appreciate all of your viewpoints and your opinions. I don't get as much dissent as I'd like. I'd love to hear a little dissent. Typically, it would be coming from the Trump cowards who anonymously call in, anonymously write comments in the comment section. I don't expect much more. Anyway, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, all the social media. I appreciate it. Think about becoming a channel member for fewer than $2 a month. You can help support my work right here on YouTube. Click the join button. That's the way that you find out how to do it. Or buy some merch. Go to dollemore.info and buy a t-shirt or a hoodie or a sweatshirt or a tank top. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, I love you guys. As always, be genuine and take care of one another.